Hi everyone, a huge welcome to Steve's Kitchen. I hope you like the new jacket. Today we're making a fantastic ice cream. It's a red velvet cake ice cream. Absolutely delicious. If you haven't had this one and it's not available all over the world, now's your chance to learn how to make your own at home. Now it's not overly complicated, but I am going to be using a machine to make this one. So let's get on and make this red velvet cake ice cream. Now most of our ice creams will start off with a vanilla custard, and this one is no exception. I've got 4 egg yolks in a bowl, and I'm just adding into that 3.5 ounces or 100 grams of white sugar. And I'm also adding in a tablespoon of corn flour or cornstarch. Now the reason I'm adding the cornstarch in there is because when you're doing a custard, they quite often split. And this is, for a beginner, a much easier way. It just means the custard will set a little bit quicker, less chance of it splitting. Now I'm going to take a whisk and we're just going to blend this together until we get a lovely creamy paste. And you'll notice it lightens. Now we're just going to set that aside. We've got 1 pint of milk here which I want to warm on the stove. And that's approximately 600 mils of full cream milk. Now I'm just going to heat this milk up until it's nearly at a boil. And we want to add our vanilla flavouring at this point. Now you could add a vanilla pod in there, a vanilla extract even. I'm going to try this vanilla bean paste. I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of that into my milk. Now the vanilla bean paste adds those little vanilla grains in there, but you could just use whatever vanilla you have at hand. Just use a fairly good quality vanilla. Now my milk is hot, but it's not boiling, and I'm going to be adding that into the egg yolks now, but I need to be mixing as I add it. Just start with a small amount and beat it vigorously so that you don't cook the egg yolks. Then we can add a little bit more. Then I'll add the last bit in. And that is the start of our custard. And we can pour that back into our saucepan. And then we're going to bring it back over to the stove here on a very medium heat. We're just going to heat this up. I don't want it to actually boil, but I want it to thicken slightly so it coats the back of the spoon with custard. If we boil this too heavily, it will split. And that's one of the reasons I used the corn flour. It's important that you stir constantly, don't stop at all. And you'll see there now the custard has thickened nicely, it's coating the back of the spoon. That is now ready. Now we need to let this custard cool down. I'm going to put it into a glass bowl. And I'm going to add about 200 grams or 200 mils of very thick cream into this now. It'll help it cool down, but it will give a lovely creamy texture to our ice cream. And now we want this custard to completely chill down. I'm going to pop mine in the fridge for a good few hours. You could use an ice bath, but I'm happy to let it cool in the fridge. Now, whilst the ice cream is churning up there, we're going to make a sweetened cream cheese. I've got 4 ounces, about 120 grams of cream cheese, and a tablespoon of powdered or confectionery sugar. And we're just going to cream this together. Now, this is like the frosting that goes on top of a red velvet cake. And once the sugar is mixed in like that, we're just going to keep this at room temperature and just set it aside. The next thing we're going to need is the red velvet cake, of course. Now, I made these cupcakes earlier on my channel. I'll leave a link at the end for that. These ones have been frozen in the freezer and they're set nice and firm. Now, I'm going to be cutting these into slices. And then we're going to cut those into strips and then into cubes. Actually, looking at 2 of those cut up, I think that's going to be enough. I'm not going to use the 3rd one. Now, we just want to take those cupcake squares and we want to pop them back in the freezer right up until the point we need them. Now there are so many different ice cream making machines. I've got this one that attaches onto my Kenwood mixer. They're basically the same principle. You have an inner bowl which is frozen in the freezer. This one is ice cold. It needs to be in there at least 8 hours. And that sits now in there. We put the blade inside here. I've got my ice cream mixture which is chilled. It's lovely and cold. Now we're going to pop the lid on top, close down the mixer. Now we're going to turn our machine on a nice slow speed. We're going to pour our mixture in. It's icy cold, as I said, and we're going to let that mix for 30 minutes. So that's going there now. Slowly pour the ice cream mixture in. Now it's been about 30 minutes and I've got a lovely thick soft serve ice cream. I'm going to turn that off now, and you can see, if I lift that up, just how thick that ice cream has got. And we want to get this mixer out of there as soon as possible. And you'll look at that, that is absolutely beautiful and thick. And that would be great vanilla ice cream just as it is. But we're making red velvet cake ice cream, so let's construct this thing. And this is the bowl I'm going to store the ice cream in, if it gets stored at all. I'm just going to put half the ice cream in there for now. Then I'm going to take half of that sweetened cream cheese, and this is like the topping on the top of the cupcakes. Put half of that in there. Give it a quick stir through. And then I'm going to add half of my red velvet cupcake pieces. Just stir those in as well. Now we want to get the rest of that ice cream, pop it on top. Now take the rest of that cream cheese frosting and just squeeze that on top. Again, I'm just going to swirl that cream cheese frosting into the ice cream. I'm just going to add the rest of my red velvet cake in there. Mix those into this ice cream as well, as gently as you can. Now there you have it. That is my red velvet cake ice cream. I'm just going to put a couple of little bits of red velvet cake on top. Now you could eat that as it is, but I'm going to chill that down in the freezer until it's a little bit firmer, and then we'll give this a try. Now look, my red velvet cake ice cream is out of the freezer. I've just taken a couple of scoops out of here. It looks really delicious. I'm going to give it a try and let you know what I think. Now I'm just going to make sure I've got some of the cream cheese frosting and the red velvet cake, of course, although that's scattered throughout. You can see it's pretty much all over. Here goes. Oh, my new favorite ice cream. That is delicious. It really is. And I'm getting that cream cheese frosting in there as well. Oh, you guys are going to have to get going. Please share the love. Give me the thumbs up. I wish I could share it with you, but you're going to have to make it yourself if you want some at home. This is great. Be good. I'll see you next time. Cheers. And don't forget, you don't need an ice cream maker to make ice cream. There are several on my channel, fantastic ice creams that don't use a machine at all. I'll leave some links here so that you can get across and see those. I'd love you to subscribe and comments down below. As always, be good. Hope you like the new jacket, by the way. Take care. See you in the next video.